He is a famous architect in Doha. It would not be enough, the entire podcast, to name all the projects that he did, but I will tell you a few that you definitely know. Shark Village Hotel, Rosewood Hotel, and for sure very famous Thumama Stadium, inspired by Gahfiya.
Wait a minute, I've been wearing this since I was a kid, so my Gahfiya better be the best Gahfiya ever.
Mr. Ibrahim, I see that you have Tom Ford glasses, right?
Probably. To me, glasses are my jewelry. For you ladies, you have your jewelry. I love glasses.
Please watch the podcast until the end, and Mr. Ibrahim will sign himself this book, and for the best comment, whoever will receive this book.
We would take the box, for the fruit box, and I would turn it into partitions and create for them the layout, the living room, bedroom. And I was 6-7 years old when I was doing this.
Welcome to Fashion Podcast. It's a place where we give voices for talented and creative people of Qatar, and we speak about art, fashion, and not only. Today we speak about connection between fashion and architecture, and I am so honored to present Mr. Ibrahim Jaidah. He is a famous architect in Doha. It would not be enough, the entire podcast, to name all the projects that he did, but I will tell you a few that you definitely know. Shark Village Hotel, Rosewood Hotel, and for sure very famous Thumama Stadium, inspired by Gahfiya. It's a traditional part of the man headpiece. So, Mr. Ibrahim, thank you so much for coming.
I'm delighted, Natalia. Thank you for inviting me.
So what do you think, there is any connection between fashion and architecture?
Very much so. It's all about design at the end of the day, proportion, color. Well, let's not forget Zaha Hadid designed some beautiful fashion also, in addition to furniture and beautiful architecture. So I think in the world of design, they're all related, whether it's the fine arts, sculptures, you name it. It's all design. Creativity, so this certainly is a big relationship.
This can be confirmed by the project that you did personally, because you didn't just take anything to be inspired with. You took the piece of traditional Qatari costume. Why did you do that?
Indeed, the Gahfiya. See, so that's part of the fashion. Well, it was interesting as. During the country was building up for the World Cup, I would hear Zaha Hadid designed one stadium, Norman Foster the other, and so on. I was fortunate to be called to compete in the last competition for the 8th stadium, which is Al Thumama. Interestingly, in the design brief or the competition brief, there was a reference to cultural, and we've seen culture is represented in all our stadiums. And there was a reference even to the head cover. So I thought, wait a minute, I've been wearing this since I was a kid, so my Gahfiya better be the best Gahfiya ever.
Absolutely.
And after big effort, spending so much time in the souk, checking all the different type of patterns and so on, we ended up creating a nice, unique pattern to the Gahfiya that we were designing that's proportionally it will make sense. And then voila, we were called to say you won the competition.
That's amazing. So that pattern that you repeat on the Gahfiya as a stadium, cannot be bought in Doha. It's unique.
Interestingly, one guy started a factory,
really?
And he's creating the Thumama Stadium pattern on the Gahfiyas.
Very interesting.
Yes.
I hope he got in touch with you for the author
He
rights.
did not. He didn't, but I was so proud that he's done it. A friend of mine brought me a gift, which was, he said, can you recognize this pattern? I said, yeah, this is Al Thumama pattern. So yeah, they are manufacturing them.
You see people doing business from your idea. It means it's working. It means it's definitely unique. So what do you think? Is it important nowadays when Qatari people are traveling a lot abroad? You study abroad by yourself. Is it important to still have this cultural touch, the cultural influence in spite of the modern technologies and all of that? To have like a reminder for modern generation?
Definitely. I think, holding into your culture without the use of what is available and technology, information in the world will not allow you to be so creative. So ideally is to use the most innovative ideas, materials available in the world, and put that into your context. I think since you mentioned the Thumama Stadium, Gahfiya, we use the most contemporary materials to represent Gahfiya and to represent the patterns of the Gahfiya. So traveling actually inspires you. And as you see the world, you see the different type of architecture, culture, you come back and you realize that you learned more about your own culture by appreciating other cultures.
What is the message with Gahfiya to people in the world?
You know, interestingly, when we even designed the stadium, there is like a VVIP entrance. And there I have proposed to create a little Gahfiya museum. Because let's not forget, in every culture of the world, they have one form or another of the head cover. So in that little collection of Gahfiyas, there was from the cowboy hat all the way to the Asian different type of hats. So it became like a museum of hats. So head cover is important to every culture. So I think that's why every time you mention, or I mentioned that I've done the Thumama Stadium, the head cover to anybody from any culture, you find a beautiful smile on their faces because it just relates somehow.
What do you feel when you're passing by your creation, when you see the museum, when you see other pieces of architecture that you created in Doha? What is your feeling like? How do you feel?
It's a great feeling, really, because every project has a long story before it sees the reality. The story from when the owner starts telling you his ambitions, for you to understand what he's looking for. At the same time, you have to really make it work. Engineering wise, aesthetic wise, you have to finish it on the budget, on the time. So every little building has a story for me and an experience for me. And a lot of them have interesting experience, and you get to know the people really deep inside. Architecture is very personal to the owners, whether you're doing your building of any type. It's very close to their heart. So I really get very close and to know people. And therefore, buildings, they ask me, which is your favorite? And I'll always say they're all like my kids. I love them all.
What do you remember the most about Thumama Stadium when you're passing it by? Any story related to the creation?
Thumama is, it meant so much to me because while our nation was building up to show the world what Qatar is all about, from every policeman to the politician to the engineer, they were all, you remember, we were all been through it while you were living in Qatar. And then with all this, I become part of it. Part of how to show my culture, my nation's will to the rest of the world. It's a thrill. And I'll never forget, I was called for the inauguration of the building. And it happened to be His Highness's the Emir Cup. And I remember it was the finals between Al Sadd and Al Rayyan.
Okay.
And I have the honor to receive His Highness at the entrance when he has arrived. And he congratulated me on this beautiful building. And then I attend to see the game. It's a moment that I'll never forget.
Amazing. Which team are you?
Well, I didn't pay attention to the game. I was looking at the crowd screaming. I was looking at the smile on people's faces. And by coincidence, during the opening, there were some kids with their Gahfiyas. There was like a little show.
Okay.
And my son was one of them, by coincidence. I knew he was going to be there, but it meant even a little bit extra. But I really didn't pay much attention. I was looking at the people's reaction, looking at the ceiling. I was in my own world.
Was it the same way as you imagining it came out? Is it any difference still before, like what you have in your mind, then you have it on the paper, then you have it in reality? Is it matches what you was imagining, or it came out a little bit different?
It became a little bit more than I have expected.
More in what?
Because I've designed shopping centers, hotels, all sorts of projects, and each one means a lot to me, like I've said. But the stadium, the scale, and you hear the voice of the people when they are cheering, it gives you goosebumps. And for me, the building became alive. We design buildings, we expect how it looks like, but that have a feeling. The stadium's really is full of life, especially when people are screaming and happy or whatever it is. It's a different feeling that I never felt in many buildings in my life.
Did you come there many times or just for the opening? Or you come there?
No,
time
I've
to
been
time?
there in several games, even during
Okay.
the World Cup. And I drive by there almost, 2-3 times a week, going around in town. And I just love it. It means so much to me.
Nice. Speaking about if to still compare fashion and architecture, so there are a lot of misusing of the fabrics now, and we talk about sustainability. If to go with that to the architecture, did you use any sustainable materials there, or like how in the modern design you're trying to use sustainable materials in general to protect environment, and is it possible when you build in a stadium at all?
Interestingly,
That's the question.
all the stadiums in Qatar has high level of sustainability. I mean, by certificate also. It's not only the consumption of water is 20+% less than any other stadiums, and so on. So it's very sustainable. It was actually part of the requirements that all our stadiums have to be sustainable. But it's not only the stadiums anymore. We do all the buildings with sustainability. In Lusail, all the buildings must be sustainable. And it's interesting, in Lusail, they give a bonus to the developer that if you achieve certain number of stars in sustainability, they will allow you to build an extra floor. So this was a great incentive to the developers. But now sustainability is in our DNA. We design with sustainability.
So there is no project without being sustainable in Qatar?
One way or another, we have to put sustainable things. It's the legislations, plus it became a way of life. I think if you don't design with sustainability now, you're so backward. And we owe it to our culture, to our world, let alone our nation, that we have to consume less energy, to produce less pollution as much as we can, so we live in a better environment.
Makes sense. Speaking about Lusail and your nearest project, Rosewood Hotel, for me, it really has also related to fashion, because I see like a knitted fabric, you make like a knitted fabric and you put it on the building. So tell me about this project. What was the inspiration coming from?
See, again, this back to sustainability. You are not allowed to do a glass box in Qatar. Okay. It has to be 50-50 between the solids and the voids. And then I always like to find a source of inspiration. And ideally, the source of inspiration is related to our culture. So in the Rosewood, since it's close to the sea, I was inspired. Our team, we started brainstorming, and the corals were our source of inspiration.
Corals,
yes.
Okay.
So when you look at it, it looks like the organic corals. Now,
True.
These corals are not only for aesthetical reason, but they are also a shading device. So we don't end up with a glass box. So all these patterns are actually reduce the heat gain into the building. But if you notice it even in the evening, the way the light goes on and off, it's like the coral is actually breathing. So that's the whole story of the Rosewood, which was a beautiful journey for me, from inception all the way to handing it over.
How much time usually it takes to deliver the project from the moment that you inspired by a certain thing and until you finish it? Usually?
I mean, to design such a thing, you would need 8 months to 1 year to design it and to prepare the documents to give to the contractors. But to build a project of this scale is 3 to 4 years, because it's like a 7-star hotel with so many number of beds, bedrooms and apartments, restaurants. And you can, when you visit it, you can realize what tremendous efforts that they, not only from the design aspect, but the contractors, the interior designers, the amount of creativity was put into that was really a big team effort.
I'm so honored to talk to you. It's like you building your way consciously or unconsciously to immortality, because we are all going away, right? But the things that we leave after us, it stayed, and you're already in the history of Qatar. And
well, I hope that, they always, when we were students, they say that even if when you do good things, okay, it will remain, but when you do bad things, it will also remain to haunt you even after you go away. So I hope I make a good impact in preserving my culture and also developing the new vocabulary of what's so-called contemporary Qatari architecture, to play a role in this and to inspire the younger generation. To me is a thrill, and it's something that I have to give back to my country, who's been very kind to me throughout my career.
Yeah, that's amazing. And speaking about history, I have here your book kindly brought by you. So please watch the podcast until the end, and Mr. Ibrahim will sign himself this book, and for the best comment, whoever will receive this book. Okay, so stay tuned and watch until the end of the podcast. You will be honored by his own autograph. I already have a book like this in my collection, and maybe you will have yours. So speaking about books, this is a beautiful piece. I read it many times when I need to read about the traditional parts, how Qatari people were building the houses, when come to the modern. When did you start writing books? When did that happened? When you felt that you want to give people more than
had
buildings?
a big love of books since I was a child. And then I went to university in the States, and a big portion of my pocket money was spent on books. So I love collecting books.
Wow.
And I have a massive library of architectural books.
You're old school like me, right? You like the...
I love the books, the smell of books, the touch of the books. I still cannot read out of an iPad or a laptop.
Me too.
I rather hold the paper in my hands. This particular book was my first book. In this book, the history of Qatari architecture from 1800 to 1950, I ended this era. 1950 is when the income of the oil started coming. So this is what I call pre-oil period. And here, all the buildings are the before oil period. And in this book, we show the houses, the palace, some of the palaces, the mosques, some beautiful collection of buildings. Some exist and some don't exist anymore. Interestingly, this book sold more than 10,000 pieces around the world. I was so proud to see it when I was in Venice. Friends of mine sent me a picture that he bought one in New York. And so it's spread all over because I have Skira as the publisher, and they are global.
Okay.
After that, I did another 3 books. I did the Qatari style, which discusses the interiors, our vernacular and contemporary Qatari interior design that you would love to relate to fashion and fabrics and materials. Another one, I was commissioned by Qatar Museums to publish a book I called 99 Domes. It's documenting the interior design of the Imam Muhammad Abdul Wahab Mosque. And the last book, which is very important to me because it's a lifetime of more than 30 years of collecting information, is Discovering Arabian Deco. That book addresses after the 1950, so it's the beginning of the oil period until the 70s. The most important era, the era that Qatar started building the new modern city. The first schools, the first banks, first villas. And that I discovered Arabian Deco, what I call the Arabian Deco, some magnificent, beautiful architecture in some of the gates of some old palaces, the sheikh's houses. And that we have documented it. And that book has also got really an interesting reaction from the lovers of the deco and the lovers of the history of architecture.
Amazing. How do you find time between building beautiful architecture pieces, traveling, performing in different places, and writing a book? How?
I took it on myself that every 2 years I have to publish a book. Now I'm working on something, and again, part of giving up to our society, to our culture, to our new generation, because I didn't have any references when I was student about anything about our architecture in Qatar. So I wanted to make sure that I put a reference for the newer generation. And I love books. I love this, documenting, researching. So I have a little team in my firm, it's non-profit, to document everything that related to architecture and to help me publish the books. And I sponsor my books 100%.
Amazing.
I don't make a living out of it, but it's a legacy that I like to keep, and I'm so happy that to see young architects using it as a reference. Even international famous star architects have complimented me as this is the most important reference they had about what's so-called Qatari architecture.
That's great. Speaking about the traditional architecture that you speak about from the old days, I read in the book that there is a traditional way how the people used to build houses. So there is a yard in the middle, and there is a certain type of the walls has to be. Is this way still people use when they build houses now? If you have a personal project, for example, is this still a fashion?
Unfortunately not.
It's not.
With the new planning and the influence of the planners that came from different parts of the world, our neighborhoods are designed more of a grid system with boxes called villas. So we really lost the privacy and the uniqueness of the courtyard. I have like a little theory. I did studies how we can bring the courtyard into our modern neighborhoods, because going through this, our ancestors managed to live in this hot, rigid environment. They were intelligent on how to deal with the nature, building materials, the openings in which direction, small openings, no openings whatsoever where the sun direction is hot. So I tell the students, let's go back to basics. Let's learn from the basics. How did they orient their buildings? From that, we put it in the modern context, and we can come up with a contemporary architecture, yet sensitive to the environment, learning the lessons from what our ancestors left for us, but in a very contemporary way. And I think Musharraf is the perfect example.
I was about to say, those courtyards in Musharraf, it's your touch, right?
Well, I was honored to be part of preserving the 3 museums. These are the traditional, original houses that were there. But even in the modern buildings, when you walk around, openings are small, the orientation towards the sun is studied, and the buildings are close to each other, creating shadow. So it's very comfortable to walk throughout the year. Every little breeze makes sense. So that's a perfect example how to learn from the past, but put it in our modern times.
Is your house built like this? Do you have a courtyard in your own house?
I don't, but I'm planning to build one because the lands that are given with the regulations, because now you buy a land, let's say it's 30 meter by 30 meter or 40. The regulations tell you to set back from this side by so many meters, this back, and this. So by the time you do all the setbacks, you end up on a box. So you cannot build a courtyard house unless otherwise it will be a little hole in the big. So it's not going to make sense. So I'm hoping to build. I have a farm, and to build a proper traditional house with a courtyard to be able to sort of use it as my hideaway and my research center.
Amazing. Also as a tour guide, I see when they say about let's go to Qatari farm for the tourist, it's not a Qatari farm actually, because it's not built up to the standards. It's just like attraction most of the cases, but it's not built. You cannot see there how the really people live, right?
No, not necessarily.
You can. So it's.
But when you go to the houses in Musharraf, the museums.
Yes, museums.
Yeah,
yes.
I mean, go to the Radwani house, for example. It's a perfect courtyard house. I mean, even the proportion, the feeling, it just has an amazing, beautiful vibe. So, with this human scale, with the shadows that it's creating, even aesthetically, it's beautiful. It has a lot of beautiful sense to it. So
it has a lot of sun, but it's not hot there. It's not hot
there, because the way it's oriented, the way it's shaded, it made sense.
Nice. What about you when you was a kid? Did you dream about architect, or you had a different dreams?
I think it was in my DNA. So, because as I recall now, everybody asked me. So the games that I like to play was to build something. I didn't have a sister. I didn't have sisters, but so my cousins, the girls, we would take the box, for the fruit box, and I would turn it into partitions and create for them the layout, the living room, bedroom. And I was 6-7 years old when I was doing this. Now that I recall this, so maybe that architectural part was in my DNA. And the Lego, I mean, when I got that when I was a kid, it was for me like I discovered nuclear, because I could build houses and windows, and that was my favorite toys, so to speak. And then, went to the States to study, and we studied architecture, and in the international way, the history of architecture, whether the Greek or the Renaissance or the Bauhaus. Didn't learn much about our vernacular architecture until I graduated, came back, and voila! So it's like I rediscovered a treasure, because I lived. I grew up in the house. Our houses were steps from Souq Waqif, so it looked like Souq Waqif. It's in that area. So for me, I lived in courtyard houses, and we moved between these little sikkas. So, but when I came back after graduating, I appreciated that style of living and what we can learn from that, so we can implement it into our modern architecture. So when I talk about it, I talk about it with somebody that lived it and enjoyed living it.
Yeah, speaking about the modern architects, you teach now in the university? You have classes in university, or you teach personally architects?
I don't have sort of regular classes, but I speak in universities in different type of the world.
In Qatar also,
in
right?
Qatar quite a bit, for the Qatar University. I support them. I sponsor an excellence award for the students in Qatar University and in VCU. VCU now for 15 years I've been sponsoring the best students design in different sectors and Qatar universities. But speaking, I always like to speak about what I know, which is this style of architecture, the identity, how we transform our identity in more contemporary. But I've done this in different, I've done it in Harvard and in Switzerland and different places of the world, in Asia. I enjoy doing that, because that part of the research, when I speak about it, when I do it, these are like my drafts for my next book or for my next ideas that I'm doing.
What are modern architects are asking you, the one who just started them journey? Do you have any fashionable projects like you? What are the main directions that they are interested in? And what is the modern architecture now in the young generation looks like?
Well, now with the globalization and access to information, as much as it's a big advantage that you can see you don't have to go to a library and flip in a book. Now you have the Googles, and now with the AI, it can even generate ideas for you. That could be misused, because then you're not focused and your designs will become so global and it will not have an identity. You're just copying some other ideas continuously. So I would recommend that you study what you need to learn to create your passion, whatever you love. This applies. You don't have to be from Qatar to apply this. Wherever you are in the world, if you live in the mountains, the mountain is a source of inspiration. So wherever you are, your environment it's good to learn from it and put that into a context that belongs to wherever you're going to design or wherever you're going to live or do. And that's what I recommend. Use this massive access to technology and know-how, but use it with wisdom, I think, with what belong.
I see. But even if you use AI, if you don't know what you're working on, it's useless, because you are the one who's supposed to lead in the situation.
It's a tool.
Yes,
now you can push a button and I say...
If you cannot write, the pen is useless, right?
Indeed. But that will help you now so even if you are like an artist or even an architect, design for me a courtyard house, and it'll give you images of a courtyard house. But you have to have the sense of why would I have the windows here, and where is the north and the south, and then that's how you process the information. Take that data, but you have to process it in something, and that's what will differ between the real genuine creative people or the copiers or the people who get influenced from the surface.
Those young people who are coming to you for advice, what are the problems, the challenges they're facing most of the time? The young architects who are trying to either find funding for the project or trying to find what are the problems they're facing?
Well, this young generation is amazing. I mean, their know-how, their confidence is incredible. I wish I had that when I was in their
So
age.
they don't have problems. They have confidence.
They really don't have a problem.
Wow.
All they need is an opportunity.
I see.
And maybe I was lucky also because I had the opportunities when I came, and of course you have to know how to grab the opportunities and make the best out of it, because everybody will get an opportunity. So you better know how to do the best out of that opportunity. You'll still make mistakes and learn from your mistakes. Mistakes makes you stronger and better. But the young generation is inspired. I get inspired. They give me energy.
Amazing.
Mhm.
But I remember you told me when you just started, you was working in the morning in the regular job, and the afternoon you was going for the building and you was working for your own company, and that was so challenging. You work so much. Is the young people now, they do the same? Are they so much into to fight for them dreams?
I mean, out of 10, maybe one will fight for their dreams. When even my kids say, I'm tired, they're working, I spent so much time, and I came late last night and I said, this is the time to work hard. This is the time to sacrifice. I had sleepless nights I cannot count how many times I couldn't sleep, or I had to work all night to come up with an idea. I still, even at my age now, and after all these years of experience, when I have a challenge of creating something or an idea, sometimes I cannot. My brain just go and start to create something. But hard work makes strong people. There is nothing just that you want to work few hours and you think you're gonna make it. There is a lot of hard work and sacrifice and will to reach your goals. It doesn't come easy, but the journey is beautiful.
How many years you are now architect?
35 years I've been practicing now. I'm still learning.
Amazing, amazing. And let's do the last question. Let's play a small game. Before we sign the book, guys, can you get us the pen? So the game will be, I speak about what I'm wearing, and then you tell me about what you're wearing, and you speak about your favorite brand. So I'm wearing today local Qatari brand 5. This is a beautiful suit, and this is a local designer, and I'm supporting the local designers. And Mr. Ibrahim, I see that you have Tom Ford glasses, right? It's your favorite
Is
brand?
it Tom Ford?
Yeah.
Probably. To me, glasses are my jewelry. For you ladies, you have your jewelry. I love glasses. And glasses, I don't know how many. I have so many. And some of them relate to my mood. Of course, for work, I like to be slightly conservative. But I have some wilder glasses, and I love glasses.
Okay, so your favorite brand, do you have any favorite brand?
Do I have favorite brand?
You're not always wearing a thobe, right?
No, well, of course, when I'm traveling, I'm not wearing a thobe. But to ask me about different type of brands, Cucinelli is a gorgeous brand. It's not cheap always, so you cannot buy all of your clothes of that brand. But there are so many different brands. I try to avoid being attracted to a name rather than to what suits me.
What do you like about Cucinelli? What do you have?
I mean, their fabric is incredible, and it's just, and that's why it doesn't have to be expensive or branded. I like to touch the fabric before I buy it, because that's what's gonna touch your body. And then, of course, the colors. And you are into fashion. Colors sometimes reflect what you want how you feel, or how you want people to feel about you. I'm not that sophisticated on how to that
but
extent.
You understand this.
But mostly is how I feel. I guess I wouldn't notice it until after I wear it. That these are the colors that I'm wearing. For what reason I'm wearing them? Maybe it's that mood, and that's what the type of glasses I would put with it probably. But I think the industry of fashion, and talking about local designers, and that's why I think throughout the last couple of decades, the design industry in Qatar has gone a long way. I mean, there was a creativity boom, which is still going. And we ended up with some amazing names of young Qatari designers that are doing fashion. I mean, Wadha, I'm always inspired
Yes.
when I go and see her showroom. And I think it's, and there are many more designers that
I
are
think this is
coming.
the connection of the architecture and fashion also. We can talk about it, right? Especially that she is located in the National Museum.
Indeed.
Her,
And I love
fashion.
she puts patterns, and these patterns are inspired by architecture also.
True.
But design is all like in fashion, proportions. When we design a building, we think of the materials, and you are all about materials too.
True.
But how to put it together is the challenge. But indeed, now we have graphic designers, fashion designers, young architects that are coming up, and I always tell them you are so fortunate because the whole nation is encouraging you and giving you these opportunities with all these beautiful universities, nice teaching environment and learning environment. So it cannot get any better. And out of these all attempts, there will be shining stars always coming up.
True. So how do you choose? You choose these colors for your book. It's a golden and gray, basically golden gray, right?
And more important is the inside, the paper. I wanted to give it. If you open the inside.
More.
Yeah, not the cover, but yeah, this
It's
paper.
yellowish.
And when
It's
you see
yellowish.
this, yes, it's a bit
Yes.
yellowish to give it this antique look because all the illustrations were hand drawn. So I wanted to give it this sketchy look throughout.
True.
And it gave it, I think, a unique value on the way it's illustrated.
And now we have a very interesting moment at the end of the podcast. We have Mr. Ibrahim signing his own book, and it will be given to the person who will leave the best and the most interesting comment under IG as a post and under my YouTube channel where the full video will be posted. So guys, can you give me a pen?
I have a pen.
You do? Perfect. Okay. So you can write for the fashion podcast and whatever you want to add to it. That would be amazing. Beautiful pen.
Thank you.
What a beautiful signature. Amazing. I never
This-
saw
this- this-
anything like this.
I do my books with that.
Wow.
So now we will say October 2005 because I like to put the date always, and then we will write something, whatever you
Okay.
like.
What do you want to write? Fashion podcast. Fashion podcast. Architecture plus fashion.
Fashion podcast.
Fashion podcast. Anything else you want to add?
With my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. It was such a great honor to have you at my podcast. I'm so happy you found the time. And I'm sure that you guys will have a lot of interesting and important things to hear. And thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video.